Welcome back to our international viewers, and thanks for joining us once again for our daily English news edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The shacks of hundreds of Roma families in Szkoza went up in flame today, reportedly started by an electrical problem. The firefighters and police managed to evacuate all the residents, but the shelters were all destroyed. It's believed that an electrical spark caused the initial flame, but it may also have been carelessness or negligence on the part of some of the residents. Now the families are asking for a long-term solution to their situation, as they have no place to stay. Tirana municipality has offered to set up 15 large tents for the Roma families, but they have rejected this idea, asking for a long-term solution. They say that they have been dealing with this problem for years and that now is the time to find a permanent solution. The situation is being monitored by the Albanian ombudsman, Igli Totozani. The Democratic Party continues to accuse Prime Minister Roma of hampering the establishment of a National Bureau of Investigation. The former Prime Minister Sali Berisha said today that Roma does not want the Bureau to be established because he wants to hide the corruption of the government. Mr. Berisha announced that the Democrats are ready to vote on setting up the Bureau, but that Edi Rama is standing in the way, against the will of the international partners. Berisha made the following statements in Parliament today. The person who is stopping the Bureau of Investigation is Edi Rama. He is lying to the internationals, telling them that the Minister of Justice is the one who does not want the Bureau. But the Minister of Justice supports the format the Venice Commission proposed. The Prime Minister is sabotaging the justice reform. He is the one who is blocking it, said Berisha. Prime Minister Rama responded, I am impressed by the way you advocate for the Minister of Justice. I think that now you are ready to be the defense lawyer for the Socialist Movement for Integration in their slander case against the Democratic Rebirth newspaper. And after that, you should sue the Democratic Party for the accusations against the Assembly Speaker, saying that he ordered the murder of the 2 MPs. You have a lot of work to do. You are so impressive in your efforts to show yourself to be the defense lawyer for the SMI, Rama said. The Prime Minister chose not to respond to the comments on the National Bureau of Investigation, but he made the following reply for the justice reform. You will see who is sabotaging the justice reform. The citizens will be the judge of who wants the reform and who does not. Also in Parliament today, the chairman of the Security Commission, Spartak Braho, clarified that there are no disagreements between the Socialist Party and the SMI over the National Bureau of Investigation. He clarified that the Minister of Justice does not support the establishment of the Bureau, or does support the establishment of the Bureau. The Interior Minister reported that the work on setting up a Bureau of Investigation is still ongoing and that the international partners are being consulted. The Minister of Justice, Manjani, held a meeting today with the chairman of the Venice Commission in Strasbourg. The minister praised the serious commitment of the Venice Commission to the justice reform in Albania. Minister Manjani was familiarized with the activities of the Venice Commission, and he expressed his appreciation for the increased cooperation with Albania. The meeting comes at a time when the Commission has received the second draft of Albania's justice reform, together with the separate opinions of the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration. Now the Party for Justice, Integration, and Unity has sent their own proposals for the reform as well. The Prosecutor General spoke today at the annual analysis of the prosecution of appeals in Korça. He announced that the prosecution has launched investigations into several high officials that have been accused of corruption. The focus of today's analysis was the cooperation between institutions, which the Prosecutor General feels is a vital need in the fight against crime. Mr. Lala said, the fight against corruption is a high priority for the prosecution and for all enforcement institutions. We will continue to give our contributions in this direction. It is necessary to denounce cases of corruption among high officials. The prosecution has begun to investigate some of them, he said. Mr. Lala spoke again about problems within the scientific police, saying that the problem has been discussed with the relevant structures and that a solution is being found. When asked about the justice reform, he did not wish to comment. He said only that the reform will be discussed at the high levels. Rumors that more immigrants will be heading to Albania as the result of cold temperatures have increased the commitment of the Albanian authorities to deal with the influx. The immigrant crisis is undeniably connected to the threat of terrorism, especially after the tragedy in Paris in which 130 people were killed. The Assembly Speaker has decided to address this threat by stepping up the security measures in the country. In a statement today for Atlantic Council, Mr. Mehta said that the improvement of security infrastructure is crucial in the fight against terrorism. We need improved capacities of intelligence and humanitarian aid, he said, in order to ensure that the inappropriate people will not be able to enter the Balkans and Europe. We must ensure that those who leave the areas of conflict legitimately are controlled and assisted in the right way. Mehta's statements come at a time when the immigrant crisis is just one step away in Macedonia, which has closed down its borders. Many young men from the Balkan region have been pressured into joining the Islamic State and other extremist groups, reportedly for socio-economic reasons. Instat has reported that exports in Albania marked another decline in December of 2015, dropping 4.9%. In total, exports for the year were valued at 243 billion lek, the poorest performance since 2009. The latest data from Instat shows that the biggest drop in exports was the minerals and electricity categories, which fell by 25%. This is due to unfavorable trends in the international markets, where the prices for these commodities have decreased. The category that makes up the largest portion of exports is shoes and textiles, at 37% of the nation's total exports. According to Instat, the export of these products totaled 90 billion lek in 2015, marking an increase of 5% and becoming the country's largest export. Although this category recovered in the second half of the year after a significant drop in the first, it still remains far below the increase recorded last year. Instat remarks that exports are a key pillar of the economy, and when they slow down, it is evidence of a difficult business climate and declining domestic production. The highly esteemed Albanian writer Ismail Kedare is celebrating his 80th birthday today. Several activities have been organized in his honor by the Ministry of Culture and the Academy of Science. The author's home in Gjirokastra has been converted into a museum for fans of his work to enjoy. Also in his honor, the European University of Tirana has published a book by Viola Issoufai, which is entitled Kedare in the French Papers. The university president explains that this book, together with the works of Kedare himself, are of very special importance for the identity of Albania. He has asked the Vice Minister of Education to establish a scholarship in Kedare's name, to give foreign students the opportunity to come and study in Albania. In another attempt to honor the great writer, the Academy of Science put in a request to the Nobel Committee several days ago, asking them to award this year's Nobel Prize for Literature to Ismail Kedare. He was recently honored by France as well and awarded their highest medal, the Commander of the Legion of Honor. Ismail Kedare is one of the greatest writers of Albanian literature and a renowned writer of contemporary world literature. His works have been translated into more than 45 languages. That's the end of our edition for this evening. Thanks again for watching, and please join us again at 6 p.m. tomorrow for more news in English. Thanks, and have a great night.